Hi, everyone. I'm Derek Potter. I'm the Director of Product here at OXTS. The presentation you're going to see is about our new support plans. So hopefully that's the presentation you were hoping to attend, because that's the one we've got. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is our new support plans at OXTS. We have had support plans in the past, but we're launching a very different set of support plans for our products, mostly our hardware units. Couple of topics that I'd like to touch on through the presentation, like I said, which is probably about 15 to 20 minutes at tops. I want to talk to you about what the support plans actually are, talk a little bit about why we've changed our support plans, why we think they're better, run through the benefits, the things they're including in our support plans, talk about the fact that there's 3 different tiers for supporting our products. And at the end of them, because calibrating your unit is a very important part of both system performance and the support plans, there's a few little bits we want to talk about specifically about OXTS product calibrations. So the first thing is for long-term customers and for any of our partners that are joining us, everyone's probably aware that OXTS has always had a form of product support. That product support was originally, one of the key things about it was it supported upgrades of our firmware. Again, what probably many people know is that about a year ago, we decided to make a change and we made firmware updates free rather than part of a paid support contract. And there's really good reason for that. It was because some of the fixes that we put into our products are fixed in the firmware. And we didn't think it was right, and we didn't get good feedback from customers that having to pay for things, sometimes that were bug fixes or small improvements, was something that they or we felt should be a paid for service. We think everyone should get the fixes that we put in our firmware. The other thing is we also got really clear feedback from customers that they'd like to see an offering that was more comprehensive, particularly the way everyone budgets these years. Having something that had better coverage for cost that they might incur with their technology was very important to people. We also wanted to encourage, we know that calibrating our devices is what gets optimum performance out of them. And we wanted to do something in a cost-effective way that encourages people to get the best performance out of their systems, which is getting them calibrated about every 2 years. But the comprehensive part, we wanted to make sure that what we were doing added more value to our customers. Secondarily or tertiary, we also wanted to provide a mechanism where we could encourage more direct contact with our customers, whether it's visiting you on site, whether it's just having more conversations, getting more input from you about our products. And the support plans have an aspect to that we think will encourage that and will be good for both us as a manufacturer and for you as a customer. Okay, so when I talk about what are the benefits of a support plan, primarily, again, something that we'll probably talk to the market about a lot and to you as our customers about is the value of calibrating your systems. All measurement systems have some level of drift, whether they're IMU-based or other. But IMU-based systems, even the best ones, like ours, on the market, do have some level of drift. We work really hard to make sure that drift is minimal and that over long periods of time, they stay as accurate and as close to optimum as possible. But there is a level of drift that occurs in any physical system like this. And one of the things that we always talk to customers about is the value of calibrating your system to ensure you get maximum performance out of it. When we talk about the plans we have today, what we wanted to do is see whether there were other services around our products that we could add in, but still make it very cost effective and basically very similar to what customers would pay for a calibration service, which, as I mentioned, we highly recommend for optimal service. So we wanted to provide more for about the same costings wherever possible. We recommend that you calibrate your system about every 2 years to have the best performance, and therefore the support plans that we're going to talk about today are a two-year plan. And then again, I've repeated a couple of times, we'll talk about the other services that we've put around to try and make the coverage more comprehensive for you. So we have three different tiers that we're introducing as opposed to the single sort of plan we used to have. The three different tiers we've decided to call bronze, silver, and gold. And the first thing to call out is that the level, bronze level of support is a free level, not a paid for level. And for any of our customers, any of our products that are still current products, that's completely free. So we felt a strong commitment to make sure that if you've bought an OXTS product, you always get a foundational level of technical support for any of your products. So phone or email support, remote PC to PC kind of support that you get from our support teams here. Everyone gets that for free under the bronze tier of coverage. But then for people that do want a higher level of coverage, that more comprehensive, we've got silver and gold, which are two different levels of paid for support plans. And as I mentioned, they're on a 2-year plan, which coincides with our recommended calibration services. In terms of what those get you, we've put forward 5 different additional value-based components. Prioritization for repair work that you might need done. Shipping costs are included in the different plans. Upgraded calibrations via discounts on those upgrades from different calibrations. And I will talk about our 3 levels of calibrations at the end. I mentioned we want to do things that provide you direct customer service and also create good connections between our engineers and you working on site. So we've included engineering on-site support days. And as a fifth thing, people like to have a warranty on their products. If you buy a support plan for a unit that has gone out of warranty, we end up essentially extending that warranty as part of the support plan. I think a lot of those things will be fairly self-evident, but we'll just quickly run through them anyway. So when we talk about prioritized repairs, sorry, I've got all of them listed here. When we talk about the 5 things, prioritized repairs, shipping costs, upgraded calibrations or discounts on upgraded calibrations, engineer on-site days and warranty extensions, here's what we're really talking about. If you end up having a unit that needs to be repaired, we're going to make sure, and we try to make sure that we turn around everyone's repair as quickly as possible. But if having a return of a product in a shorter period of time is important to you, busy times, testing times, work that needs to be done, we do provide through the silver and gold level of support prioritized repairs, which means in busy times, your unit, your repair goes to the front of the queue. And we think this has value because you know that you can ensure that you're going to have as little downtime as possible in your testing schedule. When we talk about shipping costs, again, if you have to get a hardware unit, such as an RT unit, over to us in Oxford for us either to investigate it or repair or calibrate it, there's a shipping cost associated. And when we have done the work for you, we've got to ship it back. Another thing that a number of people have been asking us for was in that umbrella of one price comprehensive is I'd rather know what I'm paying upfront, pay for a support plan, and then have all of these things covered. So silver and gold plans also cover shipping costs. Silver includes the cost of us shipping the unit back to you. Gold includes shipping both ways. So you pay one price for a support plan and you know everything's covered. In terms of discounts for upgraded calibration, we have 3 different levels of calibration, which again, many of our customers are already aware of. That hasn't changed. We've got a standard calibration. We also have an upgrade to an ISO certified calibration service. And we have just introduced this year a new GNSS speed calibration as well. So within those different plans, we offer significant discounts of 35% in silver and 50% in gold if you want to increase the level of your calibration to either ISO certified or ISO certified in GNSS speed calibration. Engineer on site days is about having one of our highly trained engineers from the customer support team come to you on site. Things that we know are valuable can be troubleshooting your system. It can be optimizing your system. It can also be giving further system training outside of what you would have received originally. Any of those things are within the umbrella of on-site support days. With a silver package of support, you get 2 support days a year, and with gold, you get 4 covered days of support. If people want to buy further on-site support days for further training or anything you would value from the OXTS engineer customer support team, the discounts in those plans apply as well. So if you had a gold plan and you wanted 6 days instead of 4, you get a 50% discount on extra time on site. And warranty extension, again, probably self-evident, but if you had one of our products and the warranty runs out and 6 months later, you like the confidence of having that full warranty around it, if you take on one of the support plans, it extends the warranty as part of the support plan. And here, if you haven't already received it, it's because you're not on our email list, but you would have got this lovely, I think, quite well-designed matrix of what each plan covers from the marketing team, from Eleanor and Emma and others. But here's a one-shot just showing all those things we talked about what's covered in each of the packages. And then I just have a few final slides. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of everything that's covered in the 3 different tiers. Bronze is foundational support, and it's free, and it's on all of our products. Silver and gold then are paid for services, but we've tried to make it very cost effective in that it's not much more than what you'd pay for a recommended calibration anyway, and wraps other important services around it. So that's what the support plans are. But again, I know I've been talking about our calibrations a lot, but it really is kind of a key thing that we recommend for optimal performance of our products. Again, partners and customers already know this. They certainly know about the first 2. We've always offered 2 levels of calibration: a basic calibration and a ISO certified calibration. This year we launched a 3rd service, again through demand from customers asking about it, a speed calibration as well. So we now offer 3 different calibrations. And another question that comes up quite a bit that I thought I would cover at the end of this webinar is the difference in an OXTS calibration compared to what some other services offer or other groups. Very importantly, one of our differentiators that's not always fully understood because of the terminology is when some companies or services talk about calibration, all they mean is measurement of where your device is compared to where it originally was, or the measurement of where your device was compared to an ISO standard. Here at OXTS, one of the things that differentiates our basic calibration and our ISO calibration is we don't only measure where you fall inside the standard lines. We always suggest you back to an optimum setting. So when you originally purchase an INS from OXTS, we go through a proprietary calibration process that gets the absolute optimum performance out of the IMU within that device. As I mentioned right at the start, all physical measurement devices, particularly IMU based, will suffer from some level, even small, of drift over long periods of time, like 2 years. When you send your device back to OXTS, not only do we compare where the IMU currently is within bounds, has it moved within the bounds of acceptable accuracy, no matter where it falls, with a very high number of units always falling within still acceptable accuracy after 2 years. No matter where it falls, we will always adjust that IMU calibration back to its optimal performance. So we don't just tell you if it's drifted or if it's still providing, accurate measurements within certain limitations. When you get that calibration back from OXTS, it has been optimized back to as close to perfect as possible. And then just the last thing I'll cover quickly is as I mentioned, within those 3 different calibration services, just to make sure it's clear, if you get a standard calibration from OXTS, we're going to start by seeing where is the performance of your current system? Is it within the accuracy that we would demand for our systems? We report that back to you as a finding, but we also adjust back to optimum before we send that unit back to you. So you get an understanding of where your unit was when you shipped it back to us, but really importantly, you always know when it comes back, we've readjusted it back to optimum performance. If you require a certification, if you require what we would think of as the next level, then you can take part in our or purchase one of our ISO 17025 standard calibrations. You get everything that we do inside the basic calibration. We make sure we understand where your system currently is in terms of accuracy. But now what we're doing is also providing you, sorry, and we also adjust it back to optimum performance before we send it back to you. But on top of that, you're getting 2 extra important things. One is a ISO certification that we send to you. So you've got evidentiary proof that you are within the ISO 17025 standards. And the second thing that it provides you, if this is important, depending on how you're using our systems, you also get a clear understanding of any of the data, trials, anything that you've collected with that system since the last time it returned to home base. The certification is, again, proof that all of that data has never left outside of the accuracy required by the ISO standard. And finally, the new service that we started providing just a few months ago is a speed calibration. So in this case, what we're doing is calibration based on what speed our device is telling you that your unit is traveling at compared to a real world testing situation. There are other companies that do offer this, but we're in a very small subset of companies that offer that. And within that, some of them do provide simulated results. We decided that it was important and provided better information to do real world testing. So when we're measuring the speed measurement compared to the real world speed conditions, we're actually doing that in a car on a track, real world conditions to high accuracy. So that covers all the 3 different calibration types, and hopefully, again, many of you already know this, but hopefully clarifies what makes an OXTS calibration different from other services. Do I have a thank you slide? I have a thank you slide. Good form. So I hope that covers this. Just to wrap it up, new support plans, more comprehensive than they used to be. 3 levels in bronze, silver, and gold. One for standard foundational technical support is completely free and will never go away. Silver and gold are pay for 2-year plans that give you more comprehensive cover, anything that you might need to spend money on your system. And hopefully, again, I've said it enough, the value that we as a manufacturer would suggest to you as a customer or a partner, that calibration really is a valuable service. Making sure that you're getting the most out of your system, whether it needs to be evidentiary or not, and the fact that we're always going to send you back a system that is completely optimized to as close to perfect as possible. So that's the end. Thank you very much for your attention. 20 minutes. I stayed about where I said I would. And any questions of interest?
Did you want to pick up the question about the support days that are covered? Is it by contract or by?
Yes, we did have a pre-question for someone who saw the marketing. Just to clarify, I think we've made it a little bit clearer in some of the PDFs that the marketing team is sending out. But sorry, I'm going to do 2 things in once. In terms of costing, and you can contact your local partner or your OXTS sales rep if you want to know about costings for the different plans. The costings, if you're a larger site, we do have volume breaks, if everyone's familiar with that term. So if you're buying support contracts for 10 or 50 units, we are going to give you a discount based on volume. But very importantly, someone asked us to clarify, if I had a gold support contract on 50 different units, Does that mean I get 200 on-site engineer days? Do I basically get to kidnap a OXTS customer support engineer for almost a year? The answer is no. That is a per site thing. And our thinking there, of course, is, as I mentioned before, if you're talking about system training or optimization or troubleshooting, usually that's something that you're doing for a group of users as opposed to a per site, a per unit type of thing. So it's 2 or 4 days is a site, not per unit.
And when you have your engineers on site, I'm not sure if your microphone's picking me up, so you might need to repeat this. When you've got the engineers on site, are they allowed to use it for anything other than the unit that they have the support contract for?
Oh, interesting. Oh, yes, very good. So if you didn't pick up, Eleanor asking, one of the questions was, and I'm going to take it to where I think it goes. If you have 5 units, but you buy a support contract for one of those units, and you have someone on site, one of our engineers, and the question is whether you're bound to only receiving support for that specific unit and the other 4 ignored. And the answer is kind of. The slightly nuanced answer is if you want, and this is always a conversation, you call us up and say, hey, I have a support contract. Here's where I'd like to do with support engineers if they're on site. If it is general system training, it covers everything. If it is general optimization or troubleshooting, then it can cover the whole thing. When I use the system, regardless of which of my 5 RTs I use, I always seem to bump into the same problem. 100% we're going to cover that for you. If it comes down to a specific unit issue, then the support plan has to cover that. That seems like a very fringe case, though, because an individual unit, if you're having some form of issue with it, is probably going to be a return to base and have us check it rather than a OXTS engineer on site. So hopefully that covers.
What is the difference between an OXTS calibration and a third-party calibration?
What is the difference between? Is that a question on this?
OXTS calibrations and third parties. Like, what's the difference with the competitors?
Okay, yeah. Again, someone just asking for clarification on OXTS compared to third-party calibrations, and that was the last 3 slides that I did. And so just to reiterate, I think 2 important things. And the first one is the absolute most important. Some third-party calibrations, when they use the word calibration, what they mean is I'm going to compare your system and see if it falls within the bounds of plus or minus accuracy. But after they tell you where it falls, that is where their calibration stops. So it's a report back to you where inside these, this is meant to represent accuracy, by the way, where inside the accuracy lines this thing to things fall. But those services, most of them, will not then adjust your central calibration back to optimum. An OXTS calibration doesn't just measure where you are when we receive the unit, no matter where you are, and we will report that back to you. We always optimize the calibration back to the optimal point in the middle of accuracy. And then secondarily, we're one of the few manufacturers that offers a speed-based calibration as well. So you're not only getting, if you choose to use that calibration, you're not only getting verification of anything IMU based, you're also getting verification of speed measurements as well.
And the last one was, can all units be covered under support contracts?
Oh, that's an important one. Whoever asked that, good question. Only currently supported products are covered by this. So unfortunately, if you have a very old unit that we no longer are able to calibrate or service, those can't be covered under a support contract. So it's only what we'd consider current units that can be covered under support plan. And when in doubt, please just reach out to us. We can, if you say, what about this unit? We can quickly answer you back and say whether it's something that can or can't be covered under one of our support plans.
You just said and X-rate. If you didn't say.
No, I didn't.
I was reading something.
No.
The last one was effectively time for providing support on any given device may heavily be affected by how long it takes to clear EU or UK customs. This may sometimes be a bigger factor than where the ticket is in your internal queue. Are you planning to provide device repairs in the EU to further speed up these processes?
Short answer is
Well,
yes.
easy answer, just in case.
Oh, I'm sorry, can't tell whether.
So the last bit was you planning to provide device repairs.
I'm going to condense that down. The end of it is, does OXTS have any plans to provide repairs or calibrations within the EU? And the further context was sometimes passing through customs costs more time than I would get the benefit of if I'm prioritized in the queue. The short answer is we are looking at providing that service. I'm a little bit cagey about it just because I don't have a timeline when we're actually going to introduce it. We do have a office in the DAC region in Germany. They can currently provide calibrations. Repairs currently are still done back here in the office, but we have had this request a lot, and we are looking into whether or not we can introduce that service, hopefully sometime within this year. Cool. So I think that's the end of the questions. Again, thank you very much for attending. Thank you for your patience. If you do have any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us at OXTS. You can reach out to myself directly if you'd like. Any questions you have, we'll try and get back to you as soon as we can. And otherwise, thanks very much for your attendance, and I hope this was useful information.